Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is KarQ, and one of my best performing videos of all time is an obscure tips video with Jane, and this is going to be part 2 with some more. If you're somewhat new to Overwatch, make sure you watch the old one and this one, and I guarantee you'll learn something new. Let's get started. This video was sponsored by the Overwatch League. That's right, this is the final season. We're going to be seeing 6v6 before we switch to 5v5 next year. The playoffs are happening right now through September 24th. Tune into the Owl YouTube channel during playoffs to earn 3 Overwatch League skins for every 3 hours of playoffs watched, up to 9 different skins available to be earned. Following that, we have the Grand Finals happening Saturday, September 25th. During that broadcast, the devs are going to be walking through the Overwatch 2 Sombra and Bastion reworks following the Watch Point pre-show, which begins at 4:45 p.m. Pacific. Enjoy the match and stick around for the Overwatch 2 Pro Player Exhibition match, where you can see firsthand what high-level 5v5 is going to look like at halftime. And finally, just for tuning in, you can earn an exclusive Grand Final spray. Look at how cute that is. 6 Overwatch League skins and 100 League tokens. Again, that's this Saturday, September 25th, beginning at 4:45 Pacific. Click the link in the description and back to the video. For D.Va, you can jump off a ledge just before Re-Meching, which will teleport you back above and confuse enemies. The Re-Mech damage will be up top, so you can use this tech if you're being chased in order to bait enemies to their death. Orisa's Supercharger behaves similarly to Mercy's Beam, in which there is a 1-second lingering effect before it detaches if you break line of sight. That means if your Supercharger is tucked safely in the back, you can still pop in and out aggressively while maintaining that 50% damage buff. For Rein, you can do a jumping fast shatter by pressing jump and shatter at the same time, and you'll know you messed it up if you hang in the air for too long. You can advance this tech by cranking a 90 around a corner, which is way faster compared to the traditional method. For Roadhog, everyone should know the turn pull by now by simply turning while pulling. Duh. However, if you try this from high ground, you'll notice that enemies tend to get stuck on the wall below you, so the tech here is the turn pull plus a jump to make it much more consistent and give you enough lift to bring the enemies up to high ground. For Sigma, you can rock jump to position yourself in spots that you normally wouldn't be able to reach by, well, throwing your rock at your feet and jumping as soon as it breaks. For Winston, you can actually wall bounce after a leap to quickly change directions to either reposition or to escape. One variation of this is to reduce the leap height so that you can increase your landing speed to lower the chance of the enemy reacting to you. Here's Numlock executing it to perfection. For Ball, you can do a super jump by using the fireball momentum towards a slanted wall or object and jumping upon contact. This opens up a ton of new and quick pile driver spots. I recommend this one from Yeatle. For Zarya, you can remove the kill credit from any sort of boop by shooting a secondary fire off a wall and damaging yourself on the way down. You should do this every time you're screwed and booped off the map to deny the kill credit and ultimate charge the enemy would normally get. I have a full video of this concept linked down below. For Ashe, or for Bob rather, he can actually sit on health packs after he stops running, which he'll constantly pick up automatically if his health isn't full. This works out nicely if you have a Sombra on your team, for example, who has it hacked, which is certainly good if Bob is being focused so that he's extra beefy. Okay, this Bastion one is the definition of an obscure tech. So when Bastion goes into turret mode, there's a really loud wind-up noise that sounds like this. However, you can use the voice lines bwee or zwee to mask and hide the wind-up noise, making your flank Bastion game even deadlier. Thanks to Bastion Main for showing me this. This is what it sounds like. You obviously still hear something and it's really noticeable right now, but in a real game with 11 other heroes in, with a team fight and abilities and projectiles being thrown out, this really is a lot quieter, all things considered. There's a lot of tech that exists around Doomfist due to the nature of his movement-based abilities, but the most practical one that every Doom should know is diagonal punching. You do this by jumping and then punching into slanted walls to gain insane vertical distance both upwards or downwards. A full video with diag spots linked below with Brandito, but I also recommend get Quaked on, who's a Doomfist wizard. For Echo, a lot of players misunderstand her flight ability. If you activate it and then quickly deactivate it to cancel it mid-air, you will conserve that initial movement speed, boost momentum, and go a lot higher, faster. This tech can be useful to quickly escape something or to catch enemies like a Widow without giving them any time to react. For Genji, the game won't allow you to dash while you use your melee until the animation is completely over. However, you can bypass this by quickly wall climbing during that melee animation to cancel it, giving you the ability to dash again without that delay. Here's that combo in real time side by side. For Hanzo, Sonic Arrow is considered an active arrow at all times. If you shoot it at a shield or deployable and it gets removed or destroyed, the arrow will still fall down and land on anyone underneath it. In the past, you were able to get accidental kills like this, but this was actually patched. Now it does no damage, but the sonar is still active. The only exception to this rule is Mei's Ice Block. You can still kill her with it. Weird, I know. Since Junkrat has concussion mines, players often forget that he can still rocket jump with his primary fire grenades. It's definitely a little bit obscure and niche, but there might be situations where you don't want to waste your concussion mine to reach a certain high ground so that you have 2 mines available right away, or in situations where you're hacked by Sombra. For the Cowboy, you want to press jump a little bit before using your combat roll, which will give you a little extra airtime with a bounce at the end. You know you're doing it right if the sound of the roll is muted like so. Here's a nice side-by-side from Magic Marv, which is where I first saw this from. Use this tech to get to some interesting spots for some cheeky positioning they probably wouldn't expect from McCree. For Mei, her Cryo Freeze can work as a little step stool for your teammates to stand on to get to certain high grounds without wasting Ice Wall. Here's a video I learned it from by, again, Magic Marv, demonstrating some of its other practical uses. For Pharah, rocket jumping is a well-known technique that everyone should know about by now. But what people don't think about is that she naturally gains way more height compared to other rocket jumping heroes from the explosion knockback, allowing her to escape when hacked, for example, as we saw in the Overwatch League. For Reaper, you may find yourself in situations where you're low on HP and you don't have Wraith available. That's when you can pull off the same spot teleport tech to fake enemies out, which works by stacking that teleporter indicator on top of each other, making the Hanzo in this clip from Oni God look for the other end of the TP, but instead gets absolutely outplayed. When you put your biotic field down a soldier, you put it down in front, which means you can drop it down low from high ground. Perfect for when you're in a great position, but your teammates need a bit of healing below you. For Sombra, one of the coolest things you can do is pull off the stalling technique in overtime to buy almost 18 seconds of time for your team to regroup and come back. I'll just let Fitzy explain it here.
So how do you stall? The first thing you need to do is be in position, being ready to stall. Throw your translocator down early enough so that the cooldown of translocator is ready for when you use your translocator. Get in position and be ready to touch the point. Wait until the last possible second to be able to touch the point. Once you've touched the point, you will immediately translocate and throw your translocator down. Touch the point again and get ready to translocate. Wait for your translocator to come off cooldown, throw it on the high ground, touch the point and translocate again. Immediately use stealth, jump back down and move to the center of the point. Then translocate out and drop back down and touch once more. At this point, your team should arrive or be very close to touching the point.
For Symmetra, this isn't really a tech, but rather a technical explanation of how her teleporter works. See, the moment you press teleport, your hero is at the other TP exit instantaneously. However, the game itself will lock you in this teleportation animation from end to end, making you momentarily lose control of your character until that animation is over. That's why everybody here has probably felt that little standstill delay after going through. The tip here is to take the Sim TP while crouching or jumping to give you a bit of movement on your way through. Thanks Not Muda for showing me this one. For Torbjorn, I'm not aware of any interesting techs or interactions that I haven't covered before on this channel, so here are a couple turret spots. For Tracer, your blinks can gain insane vertical height, allowing you to go up high grounds. It's even crazier if you double blink. I have a full video on this tech separately with Dante linked below. For Widowmaker, there's a cool tech I learned from Kefri to fling backwards over ledges if you're underneath. Simply grapple and then press S or down on the controller to get up and over. For Ana, her melee specifically is a longer animation compared to nade or sleep dart, which allows you to instantly scope and skip the scope in animation upon doing it. For Baptiste, you can pre-fire healing grenades into the sky, which takes about 6 seconds to fall down. This is actually pretty decent if there's downtime and absolutely nothing else to shoot at, so your teammates can get some healing when the fight breaks out. There's an interesting interaction and tech with Brig's Shield Bash when getting hit by a knockback ability at the perfect time. If it's timed correctly, you can perform a Super Bash to go really far. I learned this from Korean creator Youngsan98, who demonstrated this with a bunch of examples. Bunny hopping is a Lucio mechanic that allows you to keep most of your wall ride speed if you hit the ground. This tech is all about timing the jump just before you hit the ground. You'll conserve like 90% of your speed and momentum if you b-hop correctly. You'll know instantly if you mess up because you'll be back at your slow base movement speed. For Mercy, a lot of tech exists in which you can watch a video I work with Neandra on, but one of my favorite and easiest techs is to shrink your hitbox by spamming jump during your angelic descent. We know that Mercy's hitbox includes her wings, and a normal angelic descent widens your hitbox significantly. If you spam the jump key, you'll keep your wings closer together, make yourself harder to hit, and still maintain like 80% of your angelic descent speed. For Moira, you heal 70 HP per second. That's the baseline rate. However, since Moira's healing is technically really fast projectiles, you can increase your baseline 70 HP per second by simply moving towards your target as you heal. It works in the same principle as the Doppler effect. Your teammate will see a higher frequency of those healing projectiles if you move towards them, but conversely receive less healing if you're moving away from them, so avoid doing that as much as possible. Good find by Nolan. For Zen, you can do a couple of cool things with Transcendence. Number one is to use it to leverage enemy ultimates that have knockback to gain high ground. Number two is to make sure you use the movement speed you gain to cross certain gaps. And number three is to jump near the end of the duration to create some distance at the last second. That's all for the video. Thanks for supporting my content for almost 5 years now. Follow my socials at KarQ Games, and I'll see you next time.